I don't really know how to start this video, where to begin with a game like this, because wow. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the year? Heck, who would have thought when we were barely beating Rosenborg or losing to BK Hacken in the qualifying rounds that we were going to end the season as European champions? Like, it was surreal to even be in the final, and we knew how good Barcelona is, how talented they are, how every single player on the team is absolutely world class. Like, everything had to be perfect for us to even stand even the slightest chance in this game. I went into this game fully expecting that we would lose the match, and I was just determined to enjoy the fact that we were in a final, not really thinking that we would win it. And then we did. And I I still don't completely know how to put into words that ecstatic, joyous feeling, because this is more than when we beat Real Madrid in the Men's Champions League. This is more than beating Leon in the semis. This is an unbelievable triumph that I never saw coming. I don't know if many people did. This is the first time since 2015 that a team not named Leon or Barcelona has won the Champions League. They've absolutely dominated the competition for so long, and I fully expected it to be Leon versus Barcelona again, especially when we lost the first leg. But Arsenal just never seemed to go away in this competition. Every time they got knocked down, they came back so much stronger, and that started with the aforementioned BK Hacken game. And then the 5-2 loss to Bayern Munich to open up the Champions League. And I remember then feeling fairly miserable because not only had we lost, but Manchester City had managed to pull off a win against Barcelona, and Chelsea beat Real Madrid pretty easily. And I kind of just expected that we'd probably make it through the group, losing the quarterfinals, that'd be it. And that's kind of the expectation that I think has been at Arsenal for a while. Do pretty well, but no one's really thinking that we're going to go all the way and do something as insane and as special as this. So the moment Eidevall was sacked, I still expected more or less the standard. This is a massive credit to Schlagers for what she's done and how we've come back stronger. And something that I think is really underappreciated about what Schlagers has done is that she seemed to instill this really strong confidence in all of the players, that they always seem to believe that they can do this even when the circumstances seemed dire. And so they believed they could win the group, and they did. They won every game after that Bayern Munich match, including a rematch with Bayern at Bournemouth. And so they concluded the group as winners and went into the quarterfinals as a seeded team. But they lost to Real Madrid in the first leg. They were losing 2-0, and it was 0-0 at halftime in the second leg. And still, every single player believed, and that belief led them on to an ecstatic performance in the second half with 3 goals to see them through to the semifinals, where they lost to Leon. And once again, every player fully believed they could do it in the second leg, and I really do think that belief goes a long way. And you see what happens in the final. I was actually thinking they'd put in a better performance in the second half because, based on some of the statements the players made about the Leon game, where they had said they were frustrated with how the first leg went and felt like they could have put away their chances and ended up like winning by some margin, or at least winning that game and playing better than they did because they created opportunities and they had confidence to know that they could win it if they got it right, and they did get it right. I assumed after some of the first half opportunities that might happen. And I thought there were probably either like two distinct possibilities. Either Barcelona show their class and experience and blow us away in the second half, which for a while was what happened, or we respond and finally put away a chance. It wasn't quite that because Barcelona did, as I said, blow us away for the most part. They had constant chances, and for that, I think that I should really give credit to Leah Williamson and Steph Catley, who were immense today. Like, they were probably the two best players on the field for Arsenal today because they kept getting in the way of shots and blocking everything, and as this like unstoppable line of defense. Without them, we wouldn't be here. and they were perfect today. They have to be perfect, especially since a lot of players actually weren't perfect. I said in the Lyon match that Arsenal were perfect, and I think that probably is the best game they've played this entire season. What was weird about this game was I don't think everyone was perfect. Chloe Kelly missed a pretty clear-cut chance right from the start. And then Friamanum was offside. Friamanum actually, I think, did have a pretty good game despite being offsides on the goal that got ruled off. I'm trying to think. Caldente was surprisingly, I don't think, at her best at times in the game. Which is interesting because you'd think she'd be the most experienced player on the team, having been to the final before. And, like, there were some good chances. Even Kim Little skied a shot that you'd expect her to score. So, like, we weren't perfect, and we gave the ball away cheaply a few times. But Catley and Williamson were perfect, and I think that went a very long way towards winning us this game. Van Domselaar faced some criticism by the commentators, and I think it's fair. She hasn't played in a while other than that Lyon match. However, I think that she still did a pretty good job today. She made saves whenever she needed to, and she led the defense well. I think particularly of that time where the Barcelona players swung the ball into the box, and you could see her shout like "That's mine" and alert the defense not to go for it. She's getting it. She's going to claim that, and she did. And that's good communication, and that's showing how she communicates with the line, and she does that well. And I do think that the defense in general looks more solid when they are playing in front of Van Domselaar. As much as I like Zinsberger, I don't know how much longer she's going to be at the club because Van Domselaar has been very good this season. And who would have thought when she joined us that she'd be a European champion at the end of the season? I'm still like I don't know if the sheer weight of this is going to be realized for a few days. I'm still kind of stunned in the joy and shock of it all. Because again, we weren't supposed to be here. And everyone thought Chelsea was going to be the team that finally won it again for England, and instead it was us. We, we were as big of underdogs in this game as we were for that 2007 final against EMEA. Seemingly, Arsenal just do the best when they're, underdogs under pressure in a final. This is an unbelievable feeling. I can't even begin to just like share that feeling of joy. And I'm really happy for all the players, especially happy for like McCabe and Williamson, Kim Little, all those people who have been there for a really long time. There was one sad realization I had at the end when I realized that Miedema isn't going to get to be a European champion. At the same time, I wonder if we didn't sell Miedema and bring in Caldente, if we'd be in this final in the first place. I said that Caldente was surprisingly a bit nervy in this game, but she has been crucial for us all Champions League campaign. And I gotta shout out Blackstenius and Mead as well. Fair play to Schlagers, who got the substitutions exactly right, because it was their two substitutes who assisted and then scored the goal. And Blackstenius, I don't think, has had her best season by any means this year. In fact, I'd say for the most part, she's been relatively poor. But for someone who is a hard worker and yet always seems to be the second string, she's the one who got us the goal that wins us the Champions League, who's written her name in the folklore of the club forever. And you could see that immediately when she came on. She was gunning to make an impact. Like, she didn't score, but the way she controlled the ball and just ran through that Barcelona defense and the confidence to take a shot rather than lay it off, that's not always a good thing, but I think in this situation it worked pretty well. And that one was saved, but then her second chance wasn't. And so she's earned us a European champion. Wow. I yeah, this is unbelievably special. I can't believe I actually get to see my team be crowned champions of Europe. It's been an unbelievable journey, and this is just beyond words. I can't. Here's the smile of someone who just saw their team become champions of Europe. What a wonderful day.